I'm gonna have some breakfast. It doesn't look very appealing like that, or even like here, but it literally tastes like brownie ice cream something. I literally eat this, I think, every single day. It is so good. It feels like having dessert for breakfast, but it's not. It's got some vegan protein powder. I'm not vegan, but I'm dairy intolerant. Also cacao powder, and it's with chocolate flavor, so that helps. But also cacao powder, bunch of berries. What else? Oh, chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips, like mixed seeds as well. A bit of Greek yogurt, although this one is from Alpro, so soy yogurt again because of the dairy intolerance. If you're interested, I can give you the recipe. It's the best thing ever. It's not my recipe, by the way. I got it from YouTuber creator Bethany Dobson, I think is her last name. So shout out to her. I use so many of her recipes, by the way. They are so good. Anyways, gonna carry on eating and watching something, and then we're gonna head to the office. I put 140 milligrams. I am doing a cut at the moment, so that means I'm in a calorie deficit, trying to lose a bit of fat, gain a bit of muscle mass. There's some progress for you. And yeah, so basically I used to put 150 milligrams, but now I put 140. Not that anyone cares about that, but there you go. Little things like that, you won't even notice, but they help with sticking to your calorie goal and like your macros, etc. But look, I'm gonna show you how this works. Now we're gonna do the coffee. So I have one of these pots. So it's really just an espresso machine. So I am obsessed with iced hot latte at the moment. So that's what I've been making. Yeah, it didn't look as aesthetic as I thought it would. That's fine. Let me mix it up. Nope, still not very aesthetic. That's fine. The taste is what matters. And that tastes great. Also, I do the foam, like I put the milk here first, even though that's not the usual, like iced hot latte. But it just helps with the volume. And again, another fat loss hack. Makes your drink seem much bigger.
So I have always been very strict in the amount. So the marathon I am running is Berlin Marathon in September, which just makes it so exciting.
So I'm watching a video from Holly Brooks. You know her. I love her vlogs. But basically, she is talking about a few things. Well, she's running the Berlin Marathon, so that's very exciting. I definitely want to go back to running at some point. Right now my focus is gym and swimming. I don't know if I mentioned before, but yeah, I'm trying to do 4 gym sessions per week. Sometimes it's 3, but the goal is 4. And then 1 swim session, which I have a class for. Like I have a swimming class. So I'm not running at the minute, but I definitely want to get back into it. Probably do a marathon like at some point as well. But something I was gonna say is that she said something interesting. Basically, she was saying that she did a time that she didn't think she could do, and it got me thinking. I mean, it just made me think about. I feel like it is common to say you need to believe in yourself so that you can do it. If you believe that you can't, then you can't. If you believe that you can, then you can. You will be able to do it. But then is that actually true? And what does that mean for us and our goals? I don't know, but I will try to find out and report back the findings. Okay, so I'm back at home now. Also testing this like face tracking feature from the DJI. I've also changed because it's so hot. I was sweating coming back here. I saw this video on YouTube of a girl talking about how to make your brain crave doing hard things. Right now I'm looking at, what does the science, what does the research say about being able to build long-term discipline and stick to and accomplish your goals. And so far, what does the science say about long-term discipline? So basically, there is no single neurological faculty called discipline. I think that we all knew. And long-term consistency appears to emerge from several different processes. For example, valuing the outcome, or actually, having intrinsic motivation or an intrinsic value that you assign to the goal that you're trying to achieve, rather than something extrinsic. So rather than doing it because it's what your parents want you to do, or it's what you think that you should do, having a clear why that you assign to that goal makes it more likely that you will be able to stick to it. Another one is linking the behavior to specific cues. So instead of saying like I will do something when I feel motivated, you need to say something like when situation X occurs, then I will do Y. So for example, after I put my breakfast bowl in the sink, I will sit at my desk and work on this report for 20 minutes, for example. So it's kind of having very specific cues that is way more likely to make it easier for your brain to engage on doing that task rather than procrastinate it and do something else. Oh, this is an interesting one. So basically, reducing temptation is generally more effective than repeatedly resisting it. There's a belief sometimes that people who accomplish their goals are way more like disciplined, as in better at resisting temptation. And that is actually false. According to research, people that are more likely to quote unquote resist temptation and not engage in it is actually because they've designed their environment in a way where temptation is nowhere near them. So it is actually easier for them to not engage with it because it's nowhere near them. So it's not like they are actively putting in effort to resist it, but rather they just don't have it around them. So that is something that I found quite interesting. So basically it suggests that disciplined people may succeed partly because they structure their lives so that they need less resistance. And I think we've heard a bit of this about habits and all of that, right? But I think it just really it's good to remember, and it says situational strategies intervene before desire and are generally considered more reliable than attempting to suppress a fully activated temptation. Right. So situational strategies, as in removing the distractions, removing the temptations, etc. Of course, they intervene before the desire for you to perform that action that's going to take you away from your goal becomes intense, and therefore they are considered more reliable than actually you attempting to suppress and resist that temptation. Crazy. Actually, not crazy. Kind of intuitive, maybe, but yeah, it's good to remember. I'll leave links, sources, all of that in the description wherever. But yeah, it's so interesting. Oh my god, I could talk about this for hours because so at the moment what I'm experiencing is that I feel like I used to be someone that wasn't much disciplined at all. Like I used to be great at just I used to be great at cramming before exams, or if I have even a huge exam, like something like for university entrance, like I would be great at just cramming the last 3 4 days, whatever, for that exam. Or instead of studying over a period of 6 months, studying over a period of 4 weeks or something like that. Let's say like I'm not being specific. I've never really been good at having that sustained long term discipline, and actually the only part, maybe I'm forgetting something, but the only part of my life where I've managed to achieve that for over a month now is with like bodybuilding, body recomposition that I'm doing at the moment. So basically, actually that's not true because I was consistent with the gym anyways before, and I think that is probably mostly related to the first pillar of discipline, which is personally endorsed goals are easier to sustain. You are more likely to actually do the activity if you enjoy it. in very simple terms. And I do enjoy the gym, so I think that was a great motivator for me. It's nice to see progress, and like I think that's another point as well with like being able to track progress. I would track progress, and I think actually when I started being consistent is when I started tracking my progress as well. And also just removing the friction. Oh my god, I'm actually realizing that I applied a lot of this for being consistent with the gym. But anyways, my point is that being consistent with the gym, that's something that I've been able to achieve long-term discipline for, and that I've actually been doing for quite a while, between a year and a half and 2 years. But still, something that I really struggled with was I really wanted to get into bodybuilding. I mean, not in a professional level, of course, just as a hobby, and like body recomposition and kind of like building lean muscle and losing some fat, having that like athletic physique. So kind of working on my body, of course, like in terms of strength, in terms of health, but also appearance as well. I always struggled with doing all the things to get there, which is basically something that you need to do every single day. You need to track your foods, you need to track your calories, track your macros, well, particularly the grams of protein that you're eating, go to the gym a certain number of days per week, stick to that, and then also potentially stick to a certain level of like movement or like physical activities. So for example, I want to do like 6,000, 7,000 steps per day, whatever, because of course that is contributing to the level of calories that you're burning, which is then impacting the amount of caloric deficit that you're in, which is what's going to make you lose fat, right? Which is the process that I'm doing at the moment. So yeah, anyways, not getting into the details of that, but I've found it so hard in the past. And I feel like only in the last, I think it's been like 37 days that I've been tracking my food consistently. Every single day, I've been sticking to my calories, I think pretty much the entire time, except again with like just a few exceptions here and there, but mostly, let's say 95% of the time, sticking to my calories. And I've been able to lose, I think it's been like 1.5 kg so far, and still, of course, maintain the muscle, etc. Like, yes, I'm seeing progress. I'm part of the progress, anyways. But I've become so interested because I feel like it still feels hard for me to then apply this to other parts of my life, so other goals that I have with personal projects, etc. Because I don't think I've consciously implemented a lot of these mechanisms. I think a lot of it has been maybe more not necessarily unconscious, but I've been using this app, for example, which helps me tick a lot of these boxes. So I was just curious about what am I doing exactly that is working for me here, but it's still so hard for me to apply in other areas of my life, for other personal projects that I might have. So that is my motivation for getting into this topic, which again comes back to intrinsic motivation. Sorry, I keep looking at the viewfinder instead of the camera, but anyways, I want to do a little experiment where I put a lot of this into practice in other areas of my life and more consciously, and maybe I'll also do a bit of a follow-up of, now that I know what the research and the science says, what are the things that I've been doing both for gym and for macro calorie tracking, like I don't even know how you call it, like bodybuilding, I guess. So yeah, just identifying the things that I've done to explain why that has worked. I will go to the gym today, and I also need to build my new desk. I've bought a standing desk, which again, it will help me with my cut, because the more calories burned, the more calories you can eat while still remaining on a deficit. I think you get it. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to me rambling for so long. I'll see you in the next one.